Well, big disruption in Washington, D.C. yesterday, and a big boycott. A lot of elected members did not turn up to hear Benjamin Netanyahu. He was very praiseworthy of Trump, but I just get the feeling everywhere that Israel is running out of friends. I'm joined by a friend of the programme down the line, Jonathan Sacerdoti, journalist and broadcaster. And Jonathan, you get my point that Israel is running out of friends.
Evening, Nigel. I think some people might look at what happened in DC as Israel running out of friends, but others will have seen the Israeli Prime Minister there giving that speech to rapturous applause. Yes, there were some people who chose to stay away, and there were indeed some people outside who chose to protest. But what he chose to highlight there, and I think it was resoundingly applauded by those who were in the room, was the strength of the relationship between Israel and the US, both from when October the 7th first happened, and Joe Biden gave that very appreciated and impressive speech back then, all the more impressive for how lousy some of his speeches have been since then. And then Benjamin Netanyahu reciprocated and turned up and gave quite a powerful speech yesterday in the States. So I think that there's often a shift, a difference, a gulf between how some people want you to think the situation is and how the situation actually is. America is still supporting Israel's actions. It hasn't stopped Israel in carrying out that war, but it has got in the way a bit, slowed down some weapons deliveries. And indeed, Netanyahu did mention that in his speech, albeit in a rather diplomatic way, but he channeled Winston Churchill, saying, Churchill said, give us the tools, we'll finish the job. He said, Israel says, give them the tools faster, they'll finish the job faster. And that's the emphasis now, is so many people are asking them to hurry up and finish the war. So he's saying, give us more weapons and we will.
I don't particularly see Kamala Harris as being a big friend of Israel, or am I wrong?
I'm sorry about that. That's dreadful. I don't think Kamala Harris is particularly known to be a friend of Israel.
No, quite.
I don't see her varying necessarily drastically from Biden in what she might do in terms of relations with Israel, because I think that Israel is still a bipartisan issue in America. Obviously, the Republicans are far more supportive, especially of the possibility of Netanyahu carrying on and the war carrying on. And there will be many in Israel who are hoping for a Trump presidency if this is still dragging on at that point. But Kamala Harris is due to meet Netanyahu right now. He just met Biden in the Oval Office, and that was perhaps the briefest pre-meeting appearance I've ever seen in the Oval Office. Both of them barely said anything.
We will see what comes of it. Thank you, Jonathan, as ever. George, this has become a huge issue for the Labour Party. Votes being lost in inner cities, in big northern cities and towns. What path will Starmer be on with this?
I think Keir's been absolutely clear from the beginning that there is a problem. You can't just say, you know, Israel's got no right to do everything. No. It's a sovereign state. It's got a right to defend itself, and he's right to say that. I think going back to Netanyahu and his visit to the United States and his general status with the rest of the world, I think he has got, as you alluded to at the beginning, a serious problem. And he's got to be able to find a way to keep world opinion on his side and at the same time deal with the genuine problem he's got, for example, with Iran and the influence that has in Gaza.
No, absolutely. And Jake, you know, it's a very difficult position. I sometimes think that October the 7th has been forgotten.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, there is a reason why why Israel is at war. It is simply because of October the 7th.
Absolutely.
There was a sustained ceasefire before that. Israel is a democracy. It is an island of democracy surrounded by dictatorships, many of whom deny its right to exist. I think it's correct that both Britain and the United States continue to support Israel and the democracy, while at the same time, anyone with a brain should want for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. People do not want to see innocent civilians and children killed. So we have to say, look, bring this war to an end as quickly as possible, but they have to be able to finish the job and remove the terrorism threat within their own borders.
Or equally, innocent women and children being used as human shields by terrorists. I mean, this is not an easy subject, is it?
I mean, it's not just Hamas, although, you know, I accept what they did was unspeakable.
Yes.
And they don't deserve to be in control of Gaza or anywhere else. Yeah. But it's not just them. They've got a problem with Hezbollah, based in Lebanon. Yeah. There's a problem with the Houthi in Yemen. And the common denominator between all three of them is Iran.
Iran.
Yeah.
Yeah, who we've been so nice to over the last few years. Gentlemen, we'll debate that topic another day. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.